And it's not that at all. It's just like a big, hairy Turkish guy that washes you with the bar of soap. And he was just washing me. Just keep that. No, but listen. Okay. So, it's like, you know what? Here. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And then I went home and I was like,
We're talking about Jimmy Fallon's relentless fake laughter, a signature that once made him seem friendly and fun, but now leaves audiences and guests alike cringing. Fallon's over-the-top chuckles and constant interruptions have become late-night TV's worst-kept secret. From viral moments to guest call-outs, his hosting style has shifted from charming to exhausting. The more you watch, the clearer it becomes. Fallon isn't just laughing with his guests, he's laughing to fill the void. Fallon's challenges stem from a career rooted in people-pleasing and mimicry. As a child, he memorized SNL sketches and honed impressions of friends and celebrities, driven by a desire to be liked. On Saturday Night Live, his charm and tendency to break character with laughter won fans but frustrated castmates who felt he stole focus. His brief, unsuccessful stint in films like Taxi and Fever Pitch left him questioning his path, with heavy drinking marking a low point. His return to TV, first on Late Night, then The Tonight Show in 2014, revived his career, capitalizing on his knack for viral, crowd-pleasing content. In the YouTube era, Fallon's Tonight Show thrived. Lip-sync battles, egg roulette, and musical impressions drew millions of views, making him a digital darling. His playful energy and ability to create shareable moments resonated with a broad audience, proving his comedic instincts could adapt to a new media landscape. But this success came at a cost. The focus on quick, viral laughs often overshadowed deeper conversations, and Fallon's reliance on exaggerated praise and laughter began to feel formulaic. His personal life has also drawn attention over the years, adding layers to his public persona. Fallon married film producer Nancy Juvonen in 2007, and together they have 2 daughters. He often incorporates stories about his family into his monologues and interviews, portraying himself as a relatable husband and father. These anecdotes, whether about bedtime routines or funny moments with his kids, help soften his public image and position him as a warm, approachable figure outside of his hosting duties. This wholesome, family-friendly narrative has played a key role in shaping Fallon's public persona. It provides a counterbalance to his onstage antics and reinforces the idea that behind the camera, he's just a regular guy. However, the contrast between this image and reports of his off-camera struggles has led to public skepticism. Fallon has been involved in multiple accidents, including a well-publicized hand injury in 2015, which he later admitted was linked to heavy drinking. These personal challenges have fueled concerns about whether the devoted family man image is fully genuine or another layer of his performance-driven life. The laugh heard round the internet. Jimmy Fallon's laugh has become more than just a reaction. It's his brand. But the problem is, it's a brand that no longer resonates. What once seemed like endearing giggles have morphed into a predictable, exaggerated reflex. Fallon leans into guest stories with intense enthusiasm, waiting for any excuse to burst into laughter, sometimes before the punchline even lands.
Repay you for all you've done. You know, Jimmy, here's the deal.
Audiences have picked up on this, describing Fallon's laughter as more of a nervous tick than genuine amusement. It often feels like he's trying to steer the mood of the room rather than letting moments unfold naturally. This overcompensation creates an awkward energy where guests sometimes find themselves steamrolled by Fallon's need to keep things light and entertaining. In fact, the internet has made Fallon's laugh into a running joke. YouTube compilations and social media memes have highlighted how frequently he laughs at even the smallest comments. For many viewers, this repetition isn't endearing, it's exhausting. The pattern has become so recognizable that people can predict when he'll interrupt a guest with his trademark giggle. More than just a quirky habit, Fallon's laughter has become symbolic of a larger issue: the tension between performance and authenticity in late-night TV. Today's audiences are savvy. They can spot when a moment is real and when it's staged. Fallon's constant need to perform leaves little room for the real conversations people crave. One moment that crystallized this issue was the viral Rami Malek hand grab incident. In the middle of an otherwise light interview, Malek reached for Fallon's hand. Rather than responding naturally, Fallon recoiled and performed an exaggerated overreaction that played for laughs but came off as awkward and forced. That brief interaction became a viral sensation, not because it was scandalous or funny, but because it revealed the gap between Fallon's rehearsed persona and authentic human reaction. These moments aren't isolated. They represent a consistent pattern. Fallon's exaggerated laughter and over-eagerness aren't just part of his style. They've become the show itself, and for many, that's the problem. Called out on camera. Fallon's interviews are often punctuated by his own laughter, cutting off guests mid-sentence or derailing stories with exaggerated reactions. While some celebrities smile politely and play along, others have had enough. Over the years, more than a few guests have called Jimmy Fallon out, right there on his own stage, making for moments that are as uncomfortable as they are revealing. Dakota Johnson is perhaps the most famous example. During an interview about her pet dog's encounter with a skunk, Fallon repeatedly interrupted her, fixating on irrelevant details. Frustrated, Johnson finally snapped, saying,
"Aren't you supposed to let people talk on the show?"
The room erupted in nervous laughter, but the message was clear. Fallon's habit of stepping over his guests had gone too far. The clip went viral and is now regularly cited as a defining moment of late-night awkwardness. Nicole Kidman shared an even more personal story. In a 2015 appearance, she revealed that years earlier she had visited Fallon's apartment thinking it was a date. Fallon, oblivious to the situation, ignored.
And then you put a video game on or something, and I'm like, this is so bad.
When Kidman brought this up on air, Fallon's reaction was to nervously giggle his way through the entire exchange, making the moment even more cringeworthy. The laughter felt like a shield, and the audience could see it. Ricky Gervais took a more direct approach. Known for his brutal honesty, Gervais mocked Fallon's constant compliments, especially the predictable "you look great" line he gives to nearly every guest. Gervais joked about looking worse than ever, yet still hearing the same praise, exposing how robotic Fallon's interactions had become. RuPaul delivered a reality check when Fallon referred to him as a drag queen while discussing his Vanity Fair cover. RuPaul quickly corrected him, saying,
"I am the queen of drag!"
Fallon froze, his face going pale, and the internet captured it as yet another example of his discomfort when unscripted moments happen. Shawn Mendes, during a musical skit gone wrong,
This was all on you, and you couldn't...
jokingly blamed Fallon for missing his cue and called him out for acting like someone much older, trying to be cool with the younger generation. Mendes even compared Fallon to his grandfather during the segment, highlighting how out of sync Fallon can be with modern celebrity culture. John Oliver used humor to expose Fallon's shallow interview style. When Fallon complimented the title of Oliver's show, Last Week Tonight, Oliver quipped that Fallon must have nothing else to say about the actual content. It was a pointed joke about Fallon's tendency to stay surface level, avoiding deeper discussions. Blake Shelton also had enough of Fallon's antics. During an interview, Fallon poked fun at Shelton's album cover for too long, prompting Shelton to ask him to move on. The interview became tense as Shelton continued to jab at Fallon's hosting style, hinting that Fallon prioritizes bits and jokes over genuine interaction. Martin Short and Steve Martin arguably delivered the most cutting commentary cloaked in humor. They told Fallon,
"There's no host in late night that pretends to care the way you do."
At first, it sounded like playful banter, but in retrospect, especially after reports of Fallon's behind-the-scenes behavior, the line stings with brutal honesty. These moments aren't just amusing anecdotes, they reflect a deeper issue with Fallon's approach to hosting. His need to control the energy in the room with laughs and jokes has backfired, creating an environment where guests feel the need to push back just to have a real conversation. The Trump hair incident. One of the most damaging moments in Fallon's career came in 2016 when he tousled Donald Trump's hair during a lighthearted interview at the peak of the presidential campaign. Instead of challenging Trump on controversial topics, Fallon played along, treating him like any other celebrity. The moment went viral, but not in a good way. Critics accused Fallon of normalizing Trump and sidestepping journalistic responsibility. Fallon later expressed regret, but the incident left a lasting stain on his reputation. Behind the laughter, a toxic workplace. In 2023, a Rolling Stone report exposed a darker side of Fallon's show. Over 50 former and current staffers described a toxic work environment, citing Fallon's erratic behavior, mood swings, and outbursts. Employees spoke of walking on eggshells, never knowing which version of Fallon they would face each day. According to the report, Fallon's drinking habits, which began during his SNL days, contributed to the chaotic atmosphere. From 2014 to 2022, 9 different showrunners came and went, a sign of instability and internal turmoil. Staff members reported mental health struggles, citing anxiety, insomnia, and extreme stress from working under Fallon's leadership. Some described Fallon snapping at crew members over minor issues, while others recounted him belittling staff in front of colleagues. The phrase, "nobody told Jimmy no," became a running theme. Interestingly, Fallon's situation drew comparisons to another late-night figure, James Corden. Corden, much like Fallon, built his career on viral stunts, games, and a cheerful on-camera persona, but reports later surfaced describing Corden as rude and dismissive off-camera, creating a similar gap between his public image and private behavior. Stories of Corden berating restaurant staff and alienating crew members painted a picture of another entertainer whose need to control the environment bred hostility rather than joy. For both Fallon and Corden, the lesson is clear. When a host builds their reputation on being the nice guy, any slip behind the scenes feels like betrayal. The persona that once made them beloved becomes a mask, and when that mask slips, the backlash is swift and severe. In Fallon's case, the backlash hit home. After the Rolling Stone article, Fallon reportedly apologized to his staff during a Zoom call, saying, "It's embarrassing, and I feel so bad." But by then, the damage was done. The audience wasn't just laughing at his jokes anymore. They were scrutinizing his behavior, wondering whether the Jimmy Fallon they saw on TV was real or just another character in the act. The YouTube era and the pressure to perform Fallon's version of The Tonight Show thrived in the YouTube era, where quick, clickable content is king. Viral clips, celebrity games, and playful sketches brought millions of views and helped him build a massive online presence. For a while, this formula seemed like the perfect evolution of late-night TV. Short, shareable moments designed for social media more than for live broadcast. Segments like the lip-sync battles, egg roulette, and musical impressions were undeniably entertaining, attracting viewers who might not have otherwise tuned into late-night television. These clips often racked up tens of millions of views within days, turning Fallon into a digital sensation. In the early years, Fallon's YouTube strategy looked like a brilliant move, a way to keep the late-night format relevant in the age of smartphones and TikTok. But there was a cost. By focusing so heavily on bits and gimmicks, Fallon's Tonight Show began to drift away from meaningful conversations and authentic moments. His constant need to perform, to keep the energy high and the laughter flowing, became exhausting for some viewers. Interviews were no longer about the guests, they were about the next viral moment. The cracks started to show. Fallon's fake laugh became a meme, and his relentless positivity felt more like a performance than genuine enthusiasm. His habit of showering guests with over-the-top praise rang hollow, especially when guests themselves began calling him out for it. Audiences began to feel like they were watching a host who was more interested in generating clicks than connecting with people. Behind the scenes, this pressure to go viral led to an environment of constant hustle and stress, not just for Fallon, but for his staff. Every segment had to be a hit, every skit had to trend. The show wasn't just competing with other late-night programs anymore, it was competing with everything on the internet. In this race for attention, the heart of late-night television, conversation, comedy, and connection started to get lost. A turning point for late night. Today, the late night landscape is evolving. Audiences have shifted away from traditional TV and toward platforms that offer long-form, authentic conversations without the polished gimmicks. Podcasts and YouTube interviews have created a space where guests can speak freely, where conversations are less rehearsed and more real. Hosts like Conan O'Brien have embraced this shift, finding new life with podcasts like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, where the humor is sharp but the tone is relaxed. Graham Norton continues to succeed by fostering a roundtable atmosphere where multiple guests interact naturally, without forced skits or interruptions. These formats allow audiences to see the real personalities of celebrities, not just their media-trained sound bites. Jimmy Fallon, meanwhile, stands at a crossroads. His fake laughter, his habit of interrupting guests, and his behind-the-scenes controversies have tarnished his once untouchable image. In a world that increasingly values authenticity over performance, Fallon's hyperactive style feels outdated. For Fallon, the solution isn't about finding new games or viral stunts. It's about being real, dropping the act, engaging in genuine conversation, and fostering a healthier work environment could save his legacy. He has the charisma and comedic talent to make that pivot, but it requires vulnerability, a willingness to step out from behind the wall of jokes and let the real Jimmy Fallon show up. But will he make the change?